Close your eyes just for a moment and feel the breath that moves through you, not the one you force, but the one that simply happens. That breath is not yours. It is not owned, nor can it be held forever. It is borrowed from something eternal, something vast, something you've never been separate from. That breath is the echo of the universe whispering, I am here within you. You see, the greatest illusion of our time is the belief in separateness, that you are here and the universe is somewhere out there, that the stars are cold and distant and you are a tiny fleeting speck in a universe too grand to notice you. But this illusion is not the truth. It is a veil stitched by the ego, designed to make you forget that you are not a part of the universe. You are the universe, temporarily experiencing itself as you. There has never been a single second when you were not connected to the source. Not in your heartbreak, not in your confusion, not in your moments of triumph or despair. The ocean does not stop being the ocean when it forms a wave, and you do not stop being divine when you forget who you are. The greatest journey is not one of miles, nor years, nor status, nor wealth. The greatest journey is the return inward to that sacred space where silence sings and stillness speaks, where the heart remembers its eternal rhythm and the soul whispers, I am home. Ferv. Your mind may tell you to search the skies, to chase the heavens, to find meaning in books, philosophies, or the validation of others. But truth is not found in distant stars or complex scriptures. Truth is found when you dare to be still enough to feel your own being. For what you are looking for has been looking through your eyes all along. You are not broken, you are not lost, you are simply remembering. Let that truth begin to pour over the walls you've built within yourself, the walls of self-doubt, of guilt, of the heavy shoulds that have cluttered your spirit. These walls are not who you are. They are who you believed you had to become to be loved. But the truth is this: you are not here to be someone else's idea of enough. You are here to be the embodiment of love itself. When you release the idea that God or Source or the universe is somewhere above you, judging or rewarding from afar, and realize that it is breathing you, beating your heart, dreaming through your imagination, that's when freedom begins. That's when the healing starts, not because you found something, but because you remembered it was never lost. Your thoughts are not mere whispers in your head. They are energetic declarations to the field of all that island. Every emotion you feel is not just yours. It is the universe responding, reflecting, tuning your inner world into reality. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. To truly live, you must awaken from the hypnosis of the outside world. The advertisements, the labels, the comparisons, the stories others wrote for you before you could even speak. You are not your name, your past, or the roles you've played. Those are costumes. Beautiful, tragic, heroic at times, but still costumes. The actor behind them is eternal, and that actor, your soul, knows the truth. The universe is not outside of you. It pulses in every cell of your being. It is not an external deity to be pleased. It is an internal flame to be remembered. Every time you close your eyes and breathe, you fan that flame. Every time you choose peace over anger, love over fear, compassion over judgment, you align yourself with the truth of who you are. You are not on a spiritual path. You are the path. You are the temple. You are the light that fills it. Even your pain is not separate from this great cosmic dance. Your heartbreaks, your losses, your darkest nights were not signs of abandonment. They were invitations. Invitations to crack open the shell of ego and let the light within you radiate more fully. The wound was never the end. It was the doorway. If you want to know the universe, sit with yourself in silence, without running, without needing to fix. Just be. And you will hear it not as thunder from the sky, but as a still voice saying, you are already what you seek. You are not your ego. The ego is the voice that fears. The soul is the voice that loves. The ego says, I am what I own, what others think, what I've achieved. But the soul says, I am what has never changed, pure awareness, pure love, pure being. Let the ego dissolve like fog before the morning sun. Let it vanish in the presence of truth. Because the moment you let go of who you think you're supposed to be, you become what you already are, a timeless expression of divine consciousness. There is no lack in you. There is only forgetting. There is no enemy within you, only an old voice that has not yet remembered it was born of light. And so I invite you now to step inward, not outward, to stop seeking more and start being more, to stop grasping at things and begin releasing into trust. The world outside will always try to pull you toward distraction. But peace is not found in doing more, it is found in being present. You are not here to chase purpose, you are here to embody presence. And in that presence, your purpose will reveal itself effortlessly, like a flower that turns toward the sun. The stars you admire in the sky are not separate from you. They are your family. You were born of them. The very iron in your blood was forged in a dying star. The atoms that make up your body are billions of years old. So how could you ever think you are small? How could you ever forget that the universe is not something to reach, it is something to remember? No one can give you what you already are. No guru, no teacher, no book, no ritual. They may point the way, but the walk is yours. And every step you take inward is a step toward freedom. And so the question is not, when will I find the universe? The question is, when will I allow myself to remember that I have never left it? The moment you awaken to your inner world, the external one loses its grip, not because it disappears, but because its power over you fades. You begin to see through the illusions, not with cynicism, but with compassion. You recognize that so much of what you once chased was only a mirror, trying to remind you of what already lived inside. That house you wanted, you were seeking security. But the truth is, your soul was already grounded. That partner you longed for, you were seeking love. But you are love, aching to be expressed. That title, that validation, that applause, those were not wrong to want, but they were echoes. Echoes of the sacred truth that you've always been enough. And when you finally stop searching in the noise and begin listening in the silence, that truth begins to speak. Not in loud declarations, but in a deep knowing, like the hush after a storm, like the soft breath of the earth before sunrise. You feel it not as a thought, but as a recognition, I am. Not I am this or I am that, just I am. That is the presence of the universe flowing through you, undiluted, pure, eternal, infinite. You do not have to earn your divinity. You cannot. For what can be earned can be lost, and what can be lost is not eternal. The soul was never something you had to become. It is what you've always been beneath the roles, the expectations, the stories. You are not what has happened to you. You are what you choose to become in response to it. The universe does not define you by your past, your wounds, or your regrets. It sees you only through the lens of now. And in this moment, this very breath, you have the power to step into a new way of being. Let go. Let go of the idea that healing comes through understanding alone. Understanding is the mind's way of making peace. But the soul knows that healing often comes through surrender, through trust, through choosing love when fear would be easier. You do not need to carry the weight of the world. You are not Atlas. You are light. You are not here to strain, but to shine. The more you let go of the false identities, I must impress, I must fix, I must achieve, the more space you make for what is real to rise. And what is real is always simple. You are worthy. You are whole. You are enough. The moment you accept this, not just intellectually, but at the level of your being, your entire experience shifts. You no longer live in reaction to life. You become a creator of it. You begin to walk with grace, not because the path is easy, but because you are no longer resisting it. Even your tears, they are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you are alive, that you care, that something inside you is cracking open to let the light in. And what spills from that crack is not brokenness, it is truth. There is nothing more courageous than looking inward, to face your own thoughts, your own shadows, your own longings without judgment. That is the spiritual warrior's path. Not to conquer the world, but to make peace with it by first making peace within. The ego will resist this. It will tell you, you must protect yourself. You must win. You must outshine, outdo, outperform. But the soul whispers something different. The soul says, you are safe, you are guided. You do not need to win, you only need to remember. And in that remembering, miracles happen, not miracles in the grand theatrical sense, but in the subtle ways your heart softens, your breath deepens, you begin to forgive. You begin to see others not as enemies, but as mirrors, not as obstacles, but as fellow travelers, lost and remembering just like you. That's when compassion rises not as a concept, but as a way of being. That's when you look into the eyes of a stranger and feel something ancient stirring in you, a recognition. That, too, is me. There is no other. There is only one source, one field, one breath, expressing itself through a billion forms, each of them sacred. You do not need to prove your worth by what you do. You prove it by what you are. And what you are is consciousness, pure, infinite, boundless awareness. So stop waiting for the world to change before you feel peace. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin living. This moment is the miracle. This breath is the proof. You are the universe remembering itself, wrapped in skin with a heartbeat and a voice. The trees know this. The stars know this. The ocean knows this. They do not strive. They do not compare. They simply are. And in their being, they reflect the sacred design of all things. So why should you be any different? The greatest transformation will never come from changing the outer world. It comes from realizing that your outer world is only a reflection of the inner. Change your thoughts, and you change your experience. Shift your energy, and the universe responds. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. The seed doesn't grow because it tries harder. It grows because it surrenders to the process, because it allows the sun to touch it, the soil to hold it, the rain to nourish it. And so it is with you. You do not bloom through striving. You bloom through surrender. You were never meant to force your way through life. You are meant to align with the rhythm of your soul. And the soul's rhythm is always peaceful, always loving, always now. Even your challenges, your delays, your unanswered prayers, they are not signs of failure. They are sacred pauses, cosmic redirections, lessons disguised as detours. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Not for what you want, but for what you truly are. So trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the timing of your life. For what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. You don't need to chase. You only need to align. And the more you align with the truth of who you are, the more effortlessly the outer world begins to reflect that truth. Not always instantly, but always inevitably, like a river returning to the sea, like light finding its way through the clouds. You are not behind, you are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be on your sacred journey back to yourself, back to the space where the inner world becomes the outer, where fear gives way to love, where separation dissolves into oneness. And there, in that quiet place, you will no longer feel the need to search, because you will realize the universe has never been outside of you. It has always lived within. So often we wait for silence to fall from the world around us, forgetting that the true quiet, the kind that heals, rises from within. It's not about finding peace, but allowing peace to find its way through the cracks we've hidden. Every ache in your heart is not a flaw, but a sacred invitation. A portal through which deeper awareness may enter. You were never meant to outrun your emotions or rise above your human experience as if it were something to be conquered, numbered. You were meant to feel it all, honestly, courageously, fully, because every wave of emotion is an expression of life trying to reach you, speak through you, teach you something holy. Let it come. Let it pass. Let it move like wind through branches, never clinging, never staying too long. The journey of remembering isn't a straight line. It's a spiral inward. Each step takes you deeper into the truth that there is nowhere to get to, only more of you to awaken. Each breath carries the wisdom of 1,000 unseen guides, whispering gently, return home. And what is home if not the realization that nothing outside you could ever complete what was never missing? Wholeness is not the end of your seeking, it's the presence you embody when the seeking dissolves. It's the quiet inner smile when you no longer need to prove anything to anyone, not even to yourself. There is a divine rhythm moving through your life, even in the places that seem directionless, especially there. For where the mind sees delay, the soul sees preparation. Where the ego feels emptiness, spirit sees space being made for something more aligned, more real. We are not here to control the current. We are here to trust the tide. Trust that life carries you not towards something foreign, but back into the arms of your own soul. The same soul that chose this path, this body, this breath, not as a mistake, but as a sacred experiment in remembering light in the midst of density. Let others race ahead. Let the world chase after shadows. You stay rooted in presence. Know that presence is not passive. It is powerful. It is the stillness that reshapes reality without lifting a finger. It is the essence from which clarity flows like a river fed by unseen springs. And when confusion comes, when nothing makes sense and your heart feels scattered, pause. Not to solve, not to analyze, but to feel. For the most profound truths are not learned, they are felt. The soul doesn't speak in explanations, it speaks in resonance, in deep inner yeses that rise without words. What you are cannot be improved upon, it can only be uncovered. And in the uncovering, life becomes simpler, not because circumstances change, but because your relationship to them does. You stop clinging, you stop resisting, you start flowing, and in that flow, life meets you in miraculous ways. Not because you've forced it into alignment, but because you've aligned with what was always true. You are already it. Not the seeker, the source, not the wanderer, the wisdom. So now, with every breath, choose to return, not to the past, not to an idealized version of who you were, but to this breath, this body, this moment. Because right here, in the fullness of your being, is the doorway to all that island. The universe is not waiting behind the stars. It is pulsing in your awareness. It is humming in your cells. It is the quiet power beneath your thoughts, the gentle presence beneath your identity. It has no name, no form, yet it is the very thing from which all names and forms arise. You do not need to light the sun, you only need to open the curtains. You do not need to become the light. You only need to stop pretending you are the shadow. And when that curtain finally lifts, when you stand bare in the radiance of your own soul, you will understand what the mystics meant when they said, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. And so here you are breathing, alive not by accident but by intention, not a random flicker in a dark void, but a conscious presence placed in this moment with sacred purpose. You have been orchestrated, not assembled. You are not a product of chaos, but an expression of cosmic harmony. When you finally allow this truth to settle into your bones, a softness emerges, one that doesn't need to shout to feel real, one that doesn't need to fight to be heard. You begin to realize that peace was never something you had to earn, it was something you had to stop resisting. We were raised in a world that worships noise and speed, but your soul craves the opposite. It longs for the unhurried, the eternal, the still. It is not in a rush. It knows that everything that is meant for you cannot pass you by, and everything that has passed you by was never yours to keep. There is great strength in your stillness. There is sacred power in your ability to be soft in a world that taught you to be hard. You do not need to armor your heart to survive. You only need to awaken to the truth that nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal has ever existed. Look at the sky, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. That vastness is not beyond you. It mirrors the infinite space within you. The stars don't shine to show you how far away you are from your destiny. They shine to remind you you were made of this same fire. Their light runs through your veins. Their patience lives in your silence. The more you dissolve the boundary between you and it, the more whole you become. Now take this in gently, the idea that your life is not something happening to you. It is something flowing through you. You are not here to react to the world. You are here to radiate from your center, to live as if the soul were the only truth worth consulting. When you let go of needing to be understood, you make space for understanding. When you stop waiting for others to validate your worth, you step into the endless well of self-honoring that never dries up. The moment you release the grip of trying to control life, you feel the peace of being carried by it. The universe never stopped loving you. It never withdrew its guidance. It simply waited for you to stop trying to become something and remember that you already are everything. And if you have ever felt lost, know this: the soul is never lost. Only your awareness can forget. But the soul, it waits. It hums quietly beneath your fear. It breathes steadily beneath your anxiety. It watches lovingly, patiently, through the eyes of your higher self, waiting for you to return to the knowing I am. I am not this body, though I cherish its sacred form. I am not these thoughts, though I honor their passing dance. I am not these stories, these roles, these beliefs. I am the awareness watching it all. The quiet presence before the world begins each day. The eternal witness, the infinite spark, I am. This remembrance doesn't make life easier. It makes life deeper. And in that depth, you begin to understand that healing isn't about getting rid of anything. It's about embracing everything with such love that nothing remains in conflict. Forgiveness becomes natural not as a gift to others, but as a release of yourself from the past. You no longer carry resentment like armor. You no longer weaponize memory. You realize that forgiveness is not weakness. It is spiritual freedom. It is the untangling of your light from the knots of suffering. You do not need to avenge your pain to transcend it. You only need to see that it was never who you were. Pain is a visitor. You are the home it came to teach. And when the lesson is received, the pain no longer lingers, it transforms. This is not just awakening, this is becoming. Becoming what you were before the world told you who to be. Becoming the calm in the storm. Becoming the quiet power that creates reality, not from force, but from frequency. You don't chase healing, you become healed. You don't beg for peace, you become peace. And as you become, the world begins to reflect the shift. Not overnight, not always loudly, but unmistakably. You speak with more kindness first to yourself, then to others. You act from alignment, not anxiety. You move with intention, not impulse. You no longer look outward to define inward. Instead, you bring the fullness of your inner self into every moment. And something miraculous unfolds. Your external reality begins to organize itself around your inner vibration. Not because you mastered the world, but because you mastered the truth of who you are. That is when life stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a symphony. Not a song you compose out of fear, but one that flows effortlessly from your surrender. You no longer need to be seen because you finally see yourself. You no longer need to be loved because you now live as love. You no longer need to be chosen because you chose yourself, and in doing so, chose the entire universe. And now, as this message draws near its final breath, feel the space around your heart expand. Feel the truth not as an idea, but as a gentle return, a coming home to what you always knew before the noise, before the doubt, before the world whispered you were anything less than divine. The universe is not a place you find. It is the essence you awaken to. It was never outside you. It was always within. And now you know, not just in mind, but in being. Now walk gently, breathe deeply, speak slowly, and live not as a seeker, but as the sacred space where seeking ends. Because the moment you realize the universe lives within you, you become the place where stars are born. You cannot move forward holding on because the hands that grip the past are the same hands meant to shape the present. And so long as you clutch the fragments of yesterday, you walk with fingers too full to receive the grace being offered to you now. It is not the past that keeps returning, it is you who keeps returning to it. Through the doorway of thought, through the echo of identity, through the ache of what was never given or what was taken before you were ready to release it. But my friend, listen closely. The soul was not built to carry all that weight. The soul was built to fly. And yet we drag. We drag stories like chains across lifetimes. We drag old versions of ourselves like tattered garments, afraid that if we lay them down, we will disappear. We cling to heartbreaks not because we need them, but because they are familiar. And the familiar can feel like safety, even when it hurts. But the soul is not nourished by what is familiar. The soul is nourished by truth, and truth lives in freedom. Let us now speak not just of letting go, but of disentangling. Because the past is not always one moment, one name, one wound. It is a web spun slowly from all the ways you told yourself you had to be the good child, the one who stayed, the one who never said no, the one who bore the weight of others so they wouldn't collapse. But who carried you? That question is the beginning of awakening, not in blame, but in compassion. The moment you ask it, something within softens, not the ego, but the soul. The soul does not rage at the past. It doesn't wish to rewrite it. It wishes only to understand it enough to release it. And that release, it is not forgetting, it is not denying, it is blessing what has been and then walking away without bitterness. Like a tree shedding autumn's final leaf, knowing that what falls does not define what grows next. You do not move forward by fixing what happened. You move forward by no longer being defined by it. Can you feel it? That weight in your chest, the one you've been calling responsibility or history or love, it may not be love at all. It may be attachment wearing love's clothes. It may be guilt pretending to be devotion. But real love, the kind that lives beyond the conditions of time, does not ask you to suffer for it. It does not demand you remain small or frozen to prove your loyalty. Real love says, you are free now, go. And still, the past knocks. It doesn't come with new pain. It comes with a familiar voice. It whispers, who will you be if you no longer carry this? And that question, it rattles you. Because the truth is, you don't know. You have known yourself by the wound for so long that the idea of healing feels like identity loss. But I promise you, it's not the end of you. It's the beginning of the you who has been waiting behind the veil of that pain. There is a version of you that doesn't flinch at old memories. A version of you that no longer rearranges your light to fit into rooms too dark to see you. A version of you that says yes to joy without apology, that forgives not to forget, but to remember your own wholeness. That version of you exists now, not in some distant future, not at the end of some long self-help path, but in this very breath. It is not a matter of becoming, it is a matter of uncovering. Letting go is not a single act, it is a series of courageous choices, one breath at a time, one truth at a time, one surrender at a time, sometimes quiet, sometimes trembling. But each time you choose to place the past down gently like a stone you've carried long enough, your soul stands a little taller, your energy clears a little more. And that space you create, that emptiness, do not fear it. It is not a void, it is sacred ground. It is where the new life begins. It is where peace plants its seeds. It is where love finally finds room to bloom, not as a reaction, not as a replacement, but as a recognition. I am already whole. You do not need the apology they never gave. You do not need the ending that never came. You do not need the explanation that never arrived. You only need the decision to stop bleeding for what will not return. Let the soul exhale. Let the grief fall like old rain from the skin of your spirit. Let the narrative burn in the fire of your presence. And watch what rises when you no longer hold yourself hostage to a memory. Watch how the light returns. Watch how you stop rehearsing pain. Watch how the silence no longer terrifies you, but welcomes you like an old friend. You cannot move forward holding on, not because it's wrong, but because it is impossible. The road ahead does not ask you to forget the past, but to unfasten from it. To unhook your spirit from the rusted anchor of yesterday and allow the current of grace to carry you into now. Not the next chapter, not a new book, not a better version, just now. The sacred, healing, breathtaking now. And when you arrive there, when you arrive here, you will feel something shift. The ache will soften, the longing will settle. The question of who am I without all I've carried will finally be answered. You will say, I am what remains when I let go, and what remains is free. What remains is me. There comes a moment in the unfolding of your life where you no longer run from the pain, but you stop wearing it. You no longer retell the story for identity. You no longer collect sympathy like a substitute for self-love. You stop looking back, not because it no longer hurts, but because you've outgrown the gravity of that wound. And that beloved soul is not forgetting. That is resurrection. It is the soul standing up in the dust of what broke you and saying, I am still here, but I am not the same. You see, the self that was defined by what happened, the self who clung to the wound, who built shelter out of memory, who tried to make pain into purpose, is allowed to rest now. Because the truth is, you were never the pain. You were the presence that survived it. You were never the story. You were the awareness reading it. And now that you've read it deeply, compassionately, it's time to close the book. Not out of denial, but out of devotion to what's next. You cannot move forward holding on, not because the past isn't meaningful, but because your soul is ready to become more than what it endured. You are ready to become what you were born for. You are ready to dance, not around the fire of the past, but through it, so that everything false may burn and everything real may rise. You are ready to be loved, not for your suffering, but for your presence. You are ready to live, not to prove you've survived, but because life is sacred and now is holy. You are ready to return to the quiet strength beneath your sorrow, to the joy that never left, only waited, to the inner temple that held you even when your outer world collapsed. And most of all, you are ready to forgive, not for their sake, but for your soul's expansion. Not because it makes the past okay, but because it sets your wings free from the rusted chains of bitterness. Because freedom, my friend, is never found in waiting for justice. It is found in releasing your identity from injustice. You do not need to win the past. You only need to walk out of it. You were never meant to carry what was never yours to hold in the first place. The hurt, the shame, the should-have-beens, the what-ifs. They are not sacred. They are scaffolding meant to be removed once you remembered your true shape. And now you remember, not through words alone, but through energy, through peace where there used to be noise, through breath where there used to be tightening, through presence where there used to be performance. This is a sign that you've let go. Not that you forget, but that you no longer identify. The story has a place in your journey, but it no longer writes the script of your worth. And as you stand here, heart wide, hands open, soul soft, you will see it clearly. The path ahead is not paved in perfection, it is paved in presence. It is not lit by guarantees, but by grace. It is not measured by how far you've gone, but by how deeply you've remembered. You have nothing left to prove, only truth to embody. You owe the world no version of yourself that keeps you small. You owe your soul your full becoming. So walk forward, not quickly, not fearfully, but reverently. With each step, let the old fall like petals from a flower no longer in bloom. Let the past dissolve into what it always was, a teacher. And let the future be what it always is, unborn, waiting for you to show up fully in this moment, because in this moment you are free. In this moment you are new. In this moment you are no longer bound by the grief that shaped you, but guided by the wisdom it gave you. You cannot move forward holding on, but you can move forward held by spirit, by peace, by the version of you that no longer needs to carry anything to be worthy of everything. Let it all fall away. Let your arms rest. Let your wings open and rise.
Everything begins within before the mansion is built, before the wealth is accumulated. Before the success is broadcasted to the world, it is first imagined. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is a creative act. It is the divine faculty through which we mold our world to feel like a millionaire before the 1,000 arrive. You must train yourself to imagine differently, deliberately, and persistently. You are not waiting for life to hand you riches. You are commanding reality to express your inner convictions. What you consistently imagine yourself to be, you become, not because imagination is wishful thinking, but because it is the cause of all outward expression. The world you see is not separate from your consciousness. It is shaped by it, colored by it, and projected by it. When you consistently hold the image of yourself as wealthy, successful, and free, you are not pretending you are creating, you are rewriting the unseen blueprint that governs the events of your life. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are aligning yourself with the deeper truth, a higher identity, one that already exists within you. The problem is not that people imagine too much, but that they imagine the wrong things. They see debt, so they feel poor. They see struggle, so they assume lack. But the senses only confirm the past. Imagination reveals the future. To truly be wealthy, you must ignore the evidence of the senses and become loyal to your inner vision. This is not denial. It is mastery. It is the secret the world overlooks. Let your imagination become your sanctuary. Visit it often, sit in silence, and ask yourself, what would my life look like if I were already a millionaire? Do not answer with logic. Feel it. Experience it in full color. Walk through your dream home. Sit in the comfort of your favorite chair. See your bank balance reflecting abundance. Hear the words of admiration spoken about you. Feel the security, the power, the joy of having more than enough. This practice is not to get rich in the tradition, since it is to become inwardly rich now. It is to enter the state where money is not something you chase. It is something that flows to you as a natural response to your consciousness. The outer world will catch up, but only if you do not waver. Return daily to your inner sanctuary. Build the habit of seeing yourself as wealthy. Do not do it to impress the world. Do it to awaken the truth within you. Wealth is not something you achieve. It is something you express, and expression begins in imagination. The world will follow your lead when you lead from within. Imagination is not the escape from reality. It is the foundation of it. Dare to imagine boldly, and reality must conform. This is the true power hidden in plain sight. Your imagination is the gateway to reality. The key to transformation is not effort, but identification. You must stop reaching for your desires as if they are somewhere far away. Instead, bring them into the present by assuming they are already yours. Do not wait for the millions to feel abundant. Feel abundant now, and the millions will have no choice but to show up. Living in the end means occupying the state of your fulfilled desire mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before there is any evidence in the physical world. It means thinking from your goal, not about your goal. You do not try to become wealthy, you become it in consciousness. You no longer ask, when will it happen? You begin to live as if it has already happened. This is not pretending, it is creating. You are not faking anything. You are faithfully inhabiting a reality that already exists on a higher level. Your job is not to force it into existence, but to assume the position of one who already possesses it. Ask yourself daily, if I were already a millionaire, how would I think, speak, move, and feel? What decisions would I make? What would I no longer worry about? What would I expect? Living in the end requires that you allow these answers to shape your behavior right now, not someday in the future. Your inner world must reflect the truth of your fulfilled desire, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Living in the end is an act of radical faith. It is choosing to prioritize your inner conviction over external conditions. And here is the paradox. Once you truly live in the end, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your new identity. The world cannot help but yield to your dominant state of being. This state must become natural. It should feel so real to you that you no longer question it. You no longer hope for wealth. You move through your day with the confidence of someone who already has it. You no longer seek signs. You are the sign. The world reflects who you are being, not what you are wanting when doubts arise, and they will. Do not fight them. Simply return to the state. Enter the end in your imagination. See it. Feel it. Dwell in it. Let it soothe you and guide you. Let the feeling of the wish fulfilled be your resting place. When this becomes your default state, life begins to bend around your new identity. Understand this. Your desire was not given to torment you. It was given to awaken you. It is a seed from a higher realm, and it comes complete with all that is required for its fulfillment. But you must nourish it by living as though it is already so. So today, make the decision. Stop postponing your wealth. Step into the feeling of already being that which you desire. Don't wait for the end. Live in the end. And from that place, all things are not only possible, they are inevitable. Wealth is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of being. It is not something you acquire. It is something you embody when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfill. You no longer act as someone who is striving for success. You become the person who already possesses it, and in the becoming, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror your inner transformation. Your emotional state is creative. It sends out a silent signal to the universe, and that signal is always being answered when you feel poor, needy, or lacking. Even if you mask it with positive words, you are still declaring, I do not have, and the world echoes back that truth. But when you feel rich, secure, and abundant, regardless of your current circumstances, you are broadcasting a new signal, one that commands reality to follow. Assumption is not about effort or force. It is about surrendering into the truth of the desired state. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled means to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of already having what you desire. It is feeling as though your desire has already been realized, and living from that conviction. You don't wait for evidence to feel differently. You feel differently first, and then the evidence appears. This is the great reversal that most never understand. The world teaches you to react, but creation demands that you lead. You must feel the result before the result can show itself. Feel rich now, and the world must catch up. Imagine what it would feel like if money were no longer a concern. Let that feeling rise in your body. Would you feel relieved, grateful, free? Would you walk differently, speak with more certainty, sleep more peacefully? That feeling is the key. It is not fantasy, it is the blueprint. You must move into that state, occupy it fully, and let it become familiar. And here's the beautiful secret. You can do this now. No one can stop you from entering the state of wealth in your mind. You don't need permission. You don't need the current balance in your bank account to change. You need only to accept emotionally and mentally that you are what you desire to be. When the feeling becomes natural, the world responds. It may not happen instantly, but it must happen. The laws of creation are exact. Persist in the assumption and do not let temporary appearances shake your inner conviction. The longer you remain in the state, the more inevitable its expression becomes. So practice this daily. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and step into the version of you who is already rich. Not tomorrow, not later now. Feel the warmth of abundance, the confidence, the calm power of wealth. Let it clothe your mind. Let it become who you are. You are not chasing wealth. You are revealing it. The treasure is already within. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and your world will reshape itself in perfect harmony with the truth. You now dare to feel one of the greatest obstacles to manifestation is the mind's insistence on controlling the past. It wants to know how everything will happen, when it will arrive, and through whom. But that need to micromanage life is what keeps your desire at arm's length. The truth is, the path to $1,000 is not your concern. It is not your job to figure out how abundance will reach you. Your only responsibility is to remain loyal to the state of already being wealthy. Desire does not come alone. It carries with it the means of its own fulfillment. The moment you truly desire something, and assume it has already done, the unseen begins to move. And visible currents shift people, opportunities and events begin to align. But these movements happen beyond your line of sight. You may not see the orchestration, but it is happening nonetheless. When you constantly ask how, you are declaring that you do not trust the process. You are telling the universe, I do not believe this can happen unless I control every step. And so you block the flow, you introduce doubt, tension, and fear. You step out of the end state and into the waiting state. And in doing so, you delay your own manifestation. Eventually, detachment from the how is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is knowing that your imagination is the seed, and your assumption is the soil. Once planted, your only job is to remain faithful to what you've created within. You do not dig up the seed to check if it's growing. You water it with confidence, you nourish it with repetition. You protect it from dour. Faith is demonstrated by rest. If you truly believed you were already wealthy, you wouldn't worry about the mechanics. You wouldn't obsess over the next step. You would trust that all things are working for your good, even if you cannot yet see how. No. You would move with quite certainty. You would live your life with a calm assurance that what you've imagined is already on its way. Miracles often arrive through the most ordinary channels. You may receive a phone call, a job offer, a new connection, or even a seemingly random idea. But these are not accidents. They are the result of your inner state. Do not try to predict how it will unfold. Simply remain in the feeling of being wealthy now, and allow the path to reveal itself in its own time and form. Let go of the timeline, let go of the need to plan every detail. Let go of the urge to doubt when things seem still. Trust that the stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. The invisible is organizing on your behalf. Doors will open, and you will know which one to walk through when the moment comes. Stay loyal to the end. That is your only task. Feel it, live it, believe it. The how will take care of itself. Life is not asking you to control it, only to align with it. Detach from the how, and you will witness the impossible become inevitable. Words are not just sounds. There are declarations of identity. Every time you speak, whether aloud or silently in your mind, you are casting a vote for the version of yourself you believe in. If you want to experience the life of a millionaire, you must begin to speak from that reality. Not about it as a distant goal, but from it as a present truth. There is a powerful difference between saying one day I'll be rich and saying I am wealthy now. The former places your desire in the future, always just out of reach. The latter anchors it in the present, where creation actually occurs. You are not trying to become something, you are affirming that you already are. This is where most people go wrong. They speak about what they want, complain about what they don't have, and talk about lack as if it were unchangeable. They beg, wish, and hope, not realizing that these postures only reinforce their current state. But to truly shift your reality, you must speak from the place you wish to occupy. You must claim it in thought, word, and feeling. Imagine the inner dialogue of someone who already possesses great wealth. Would they worry about bills? Would they obsess over price tags? Would they speak in terms of struggle and limitation? No. Their words would reflect confidence, peace, generosity, and abundance. Begin to speak in this way, and you align your vibration with the very reality you wish to enter. Let your inner conversations be filled with certainty, not desire. When you talk to yourself, and you do all day long, let those quiet conversations reflect your new identity. Say to yourself, I always have more than enough. Money flows easily to me. I make decisions from a place of power. I am blessed beyond measure. You are not lying. Even when appearances contradict, your words persist. Speak from the end result, not from the temporary facts. Creation is not confirmed by what you see. It is confirmed by what you declare. You are not waiting for proof. You are giving life to truth. When challenges arise, do not fall back into old patterns of speech. Speak as the version of yourself who already knows how this story ends. You are not the character trying to win. You are the one who has already won. Let your tone, your energy, your words reflect that reality. Speak with calm authority. Speak with joy. Speak with unshakable belief. Every word you speak carves out your future. Use them wisely. Stop telling the story of struggle. Start telling the story of success. Let the language of wealth become natural to you. Not just in affirmations, but in your ordinary conversations, in your private thoughts, And in your daily choices, you don't need the world to validate you. You need only to remain true to the version of yourself that already exists in imagination. Speak from it and life will follow your voice. The universe responds to identity, not effort. So speak now. Not as someone who hopes to be a millionaire, but as one who already is manifestation, is not a momentary flash of inspiration. It is a steady, deliberate act of faith. The difference between those who manifest their desires and those who fall short is not talent, luck, or external circumstances. It is persistence. Doubt delays, but persistence creates. You must remain loyal to your imagined reality until it becomes the only truth you recognize. To persist means to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire again and again, regardless of what your senses tell you. The world around you may scream the opposite of your vision. Your bank account might not yet reflect abundance. Circumstances may appear unchanged, but the persistent one does not waver. They continue to walk, speak, and feel as though their desire is already fat. This is the secret. What you consistently accept as true within must eventually become true. Without the world cannot resist your sustained inner conviction. But most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of wealth in their imagination, but when results don't appear instantly, they dig it up with doubt. They let the visible override the invisible. And so they start over again and again, never allowing the new state to take root. But if you will persist quietly, confidently, without needing evidence, you will see your assumption harden into fact. It may come slowly at first, like a distant echo, a small shift here, a new opportunity there. But soon the momentum builds. Life begins to reshape itself around your dominant state. The outer world conforms to the inner blueprint. Persistence is not about force, it's about faithfulness. You are remaining faithful to your new identity, not because you are trying to make something happen, but because you know it already has. There is nothing to chase, only something to become. You live as the millionaire now. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now you buy in your imagination. You live in gratitude. You think from abundance. You do this again and again until it becomes natural, and when it becomes natural, it becomes real. With great manifestation begins with persistence. The dreamer holds to their dream through silence, through setbacks, through appearances. They trust the unseen more than the seen. They speak wealth into being even when no one else sees it. They are not moved by facts. They are anchored in truth, and that truth is simple. You already are what you desire to be. It is done. The only thing left is to remain in that knowing long enough for the outer world to catch up. You don't need to beg, hustle, or prove anything. You only need to persist. So hold the image, feel the feeling, speak the words, walk in the assumption and do it until there is no room for doubt, until it becomes effortless, until the inner becomes outer. Reality will bend, the world will conform, and what once lived only in your imagination will stand before you as fact. So now you know. The millionaire version of you is not waiting somewhere in the distance. It is here, now ready to be claimed. Your wealth does not begin with action, but with being. You become it in thought. You assume it in feeling. You express it in speech, and you remain faithful to it in imagination until the unseen becomes seen. Live in the end. Assume the feeling. Detach from the how. Speak from it. Persist without wavering. This is the divine formula. This is the path walked by those who understand. That reality begins within, no matter where you are right now. Know this, your current circumstances are not the final word. You are the operant power. The authority over your life rests in your ability to feel a new state, to inhabit it, and to trust it until it becomes flesh. Dare to believe that what you imagine is more real than what you see. Dare to remain faithful to your inner vision in a world that insists you be realistic, and dare above all to feel. Now what you once reserved for the future, because when you feel it now, the future must obey. Thank you. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. Thank you for daring to dream bigger. And thank you for choosing right now to step into the most powerful truth of all. You already are what you desire to be. The rest is just catching up.